DevOps is about effectively and efficiently managing the flow of development and delivery, from coding through deployment to production. The goal is to make it easy and productive by removing bottlenecks which are inherent in manual processes. That brings faster integration for development teams, better collaboration with operations and release management teams, an integrated toolchain, and full visibility. And very importantly, the ability to measure process effectiveness so that we can continuously improve to drive even greater value to the customer. That is precisely the mission of the FlexDeploy platform. In this video, we will explore how FlexDeploy orchestrates the development and delivery lifecycle across a pipeline that maps to your process. We will explore Salesforce-specific optimizations and key toolchain integrations to supercharge your DevOps journey. Here we have the dashboard for a release containing a single Salesforce package. This release is bound to a 3-stage pipeline. Pipelines are ultimately modeled after your software delivery process. But here is a very simple example which takes advantage of Salesforce-specific capabilities. Each stage has an optional set of gates, which defines the preconditions to execute the steps. In the test environment, we do not have any gates defined. This allows the developers to integrate very quickly, without any overhead. In the steps, we execute a staged Salesforce deployment and validation. As part of this staged deployment, we will execute unit tests within the Salesforce test org. The next 2 steps will validate the success of the Salesforce tests and ensure sufficient code coverage. If those validation steps pass, next we will perform a quick deployment to make the changes live in the test environment. Finally, post-deployment, we will execute automated functional tests using Selenium. In the QA environment, we have gates to validate the functional test results, gain an approval, and schedule the deployment for the 10 a.m. deployment window. The QA steps are similar to the test environment. In the production gates, we have an integration with ServiceNow. FlexDeploy will monitor the link change request in ServiceNow and hold at the gate until it's approved. The approval is managed in ServiceNow, and FlexDeploy will enforce that approval before advancing the pipeline. The final gate holds until 3 p.m. The staged deployment will execute, and then we will hold off until 10 p.m. before making the changes live. And finally, once changes are live in production, we will notify users via a message posted to a Slack channel. Let's look at the snapshot content for this release. It contains a single Salesforce package, but it could contain additional Salesforce packages, or even packages for other technologies. Whenever a new build is completed for any of the packages in the release, a new snapshot will be created and sent to the pipeline for execution. In the previous video, we requested a build for the Allied 7 package. That resulted in a new snapshot and this pipeline execution. We can see that all the steps in the test environment have already completed successfully, along with the test validation gate in QA. Execution is now pending approval in QA. In this example, the approval is assigned to the quality lead. This group will receive an email notification with a link to the release dashboard. Here they can review the snapshot content and approve it. Deployment is now scheduled for the 10 a.m. deployment window. As the quality lead, or as an administrator, I can override the schedule to execute now. Within a few seconds, the gates are cleared and the deployment to the QA environment begins execution. After successfully completing the QA stage, we are now waiting at the ServiceNow approval gate in the production stage. Here I will associate the change request for my package. Once the change request is approved, FlexDeploy will systematically clear the gate. In the release dashboard, we can drill into the steps to see all the underlying detail. But let's go back to our Salesforce project and view the executions from there. For the Allied 7 package, we can see the build, several deployments, and the Selenium test executions across test, QA, and production. Let's drill into one of the deployments. We can see the workflow steps which were executed, along with the logs for each step. The Files tab will provide the deployment status at the file level. Now let's look at the detailed results of the Selenium tests, which were executed in the test environment. On the Summary tab, we can see the number of successful and failed test cases. On the Test Results tab, we can see the details for specific test cases, including error messages for any failures. These test results are available to the test gates in the pipeline to determine whether to advance or fail. In this video, we've learned how FlexDeploy orchestrates the development and delivery of Salesforce changes across the pipeline, streamlining collaboration, which is traditionally managed through spreadsheets and email. We discovered how a pipeline defines the process and a release defines the content. We learned how new builds of release content are fed into a snapshot and sent to the pipeline for execution. We also explored a few examples of toolchain integration with Selenium, ServiceNow, and Slack. Bring your process and toolchain and let FlexDeploy accelerate your DevOps journey. Thanks for watching.